What is up, Retro Maniacs? Welcome to the Retro Card Chat Podcast. My name is Mike, and I am from Mike's Retro Trading Cards. And I'm joined by the two men that I feel personally will ultimately be responsible for breaking up Travis Kelsey and Taylor Swift. They are none other than Joe Day and EP Eric Bell. How you doing, guys?
I'm waiting for the song. Obviously, there's some good choices out there.
Yeah,
but yeah.
What an exciting time in our hobby now that Taylor Swift has entered the building, right?
Right.
I don't think it's going to affect our hobby in any way.
I mean, I'm running out there to collect Travis Kelsey cards.
Is it going to cause a rise in the prices of his cards?
I think it has a little bit, actually.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the weirdest things cause the rise in prices of cards. This is true. Not shocking if it did.
But Zach Wilson's cards bumped up a little bit when he became the starter. So yeah,
right.
Having an impact, really, it's okay in my book.
Kelsey, I was talking to Rob about this last night or the night before. Travis Kelsey is going to be like the next The Rock, right? Like he's going to transcend.
Oh yeah.
Like, did you guys watch him on SNL? He was like,
he was really
crazy good.
Yeah.
And I hate the Chiefs. But I can't hate. It's like people that hated the Patriots but couldn't hate Gronk. Because he's just so adorable. I same thing with Travis Kelsey. I hate the Chiefs, but I could see him like ascending to rock status, superstar status, doing movies and comedies and stuff like that. I think he's great.
Well, he and his brother do that podcast, which is great. Like they're
I've heard it's very good. I have never listened to it, but yeah.
They're a good combination together too.
Yes.
Like, Jason is kind of,
he's the
straight
man,
guy,
right?
Yeah. Although he's really not, but he is. But he's a character too. But just
compared to Travis,
right? Exactly. Yeah, Travis is more of a look at me kind of guy, and Jason's more of a sit back a little bit. I mean, he's an offensive lineman. That's their job, right?
Right.
Nobody's supposed to know who you are. If they know who you are, you're not doing something good. That's usually what they say.
Did you wear that crazy outfit after the Super Bowl?
Yeah, he wanted the Mummers outfit.
And
gave the speech where he cursed up and down. Like he will live on in Philadelphia sports history forever.
For sure.
He also dressed up as what's his name from 51st Dates.
Adam Sandler?
It was played by Sean Astin, right? I can't remember his name from the movie, but he's wearing like the weird shirt and all that sort of like it was.
That's a deep dive, right?
That
there.
is
Oh no, I mean he dressed up and looked just like it. Like it was spot on.
I didn't know this turned into the
just to let the
51st
viewers
Dates
know that 51st Dates,
Michael put
EP's favorite movie of all time.
It's not. Michael put the photo up. Michael put the photo up here.
Second favorite movie. Actually, I don't know favorite, but he did say it is the greatest movie of all time.
He did, yes.
Beating out Citizen Kane.
Yeah. Well, we have our jokes here, but you know what? The joking has to stop because I have a really long list of stuff, and it might take us like a week to get through it. So
and then I better crack open something to drink. Ooh,
you better. What do you have there, Joe?
I actually was driving back from an event yesterday, and it came across a sign for Duncan Spiked, and they didn't have the coffee yet, but they had the iced tea. So I figured, what the hell? I'm going to try an iced tea. This is a Duncan Spiked iced tea. It's 5% alcohol. I have things to do today, so I couldn't get into a 9, 10, 12% beer. So I'm going to have a little Duncan Spike and see how it is. Hold on. Thumbs up.
Good.
Seal of approval. It's very tasty. Very good stuff. Yes.
I'm going to put Duncan Spiked Iced Tea review in the title for this.
Oh, yeah. Wait, hold on. Let me talk about the bitter notes that follow. Let's, a little hoppy. No, it's
how's the mouth feel? How's the mouth feel?
The mouth feel is tremendous. It is tasty, though. Joking aside, it is tasty.
Right.
And it doesn't taste like alcohol, which could be a problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
About definitely. 6 deep, and you're like, oh, well, I just drank a lot.
I'm actually interested in that. Like, you piqued my interest there. I'm like,
Yeah, it's
like their iced tea.
Yeah, when I saw the commercial for the coffee, like originally I saw the spiked coffee, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. I'm afraid of that it's not going to taste like alcohol. because those are always the worst kind of drinks. You don't want too many
Best,
bottles around.
but worst. Yeah,
You're right.
Best
Right.
and worst all at the
they
same
already
time.
have a whole country of people hooked on caffeine. Now let's get them all
Right.
drunk too. Well, give you a little
I have
bit
a
of
great
caffeine
story about
and
that.
a little bit of alcohol for your work day. Yeah.
I have an offline story about alcoholic coffee. We'll talk later.
Oh wow, that's for the Patreon. Yeah.
Yes.
That's for the
yeah.
What are you
Patreon
cracking
stuff.
open there, EP?
Oh, I got a beer of my own, Juice Jolt from Southern Tier.
Wow.
I
Does that
love
have
Southern
caffeine
Tier.
in it?
It doesn't have any caffeine in it.
Oh, okay. I
yeah,
thought
but
it was like Jolt Cola,
No. Oh my gosh, I wish.
Fantastic.
Alcoholic Jolt Cola.
Alcoholic
No.
Jolt. We need to get the IP for Jolt Cola. I don't know who
no.
owns it, but we need that, and we need to make an alcoholic beverage out of it.
Oh no.
All right, guys. Sorry to cut you off of your alcohol talk there, but we need to get to work. Everybody is here to find out what is going on with the duplicate 1-of-1s in Bowman Chrome baseball this year. Wow, what a situation. We saw that there was a duplicate 1-of-1. Two different breakers pulled the same card out. Then there was another one, and then there was another one, and then there was another one. Well, Topps, in an unusual style for them, they usually just completely ignore everything that's going on. But this year, they finally have responded, and they did let it be known that they found out that there were 95 duplicate 1-of-1s put in the product. Let's start there. 95 duplicate 1-of-1s, EP. We talked about this. We talked about the guy that made the mistake in the copy and pasting. He did it 95 times, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, you could anybody who's dealt with, like, you're dealing with so many cards being printed, you could totally see this happening. You really wish it never would happen, but I could totally see how this could happen. They need to have better quality control for it not to happen.
Yeah.
And the person that was in charge, again, if it was copy paste, easy to happen, but easy for it to happen. But you need to have people that are a little better. They probably need to pay people a little bit more, have people a little better, a little more qualified handling it. Like, it's upsetting. I'm glad with their response though. That was great. But yeah, it's not a great look for when they're officially their first official year running the show for as Topps, for this kind of thing to happen.
Joe.
Yeah.
So I've mentioned this before, and you guys kind of you pushed back, and I bought into that.
We poo-pooed you.
You poo-pooed me a little bit, but I said, if stuff like this is happening now with social media, that's how we know about a lot of this stuff. I'm wondering how much of this stuff happened back in the day, that we just didn't know about. And you guys made the point, and I actually agree with this wholeheartedly. If stuff like that happened back in the day, people that got back into cards as social media became more of a thing would start posting things from back in the day that happened like this. So I'm kind of like, this feels like something that's never probably happened before. And to me, it's even worse that it hasn't happened before, because with technology the way it is, with how valuable and expensive the cards are, how can you let this happen? Like, if it happened in the 90s, sure, printing quality control was terrible. Like, no one cared about anything. People were pumping
not
products.
any better now.
Yeah,
It's not
I
any
think
better now, and it should be better. It should be better. As much as you're charging for this product, as valuable as these cards are when they hit the secondary market, this should not be happening. Full stop.
I think it's also they're printing an unprecedented number of cards. Like, even like we're through the junk wax era. There were no 1-of-1s during that time. So now this the super limited thing, but they're like, the number of cards are also printing. Like, that they were able to figure out the exact number. Allegedly, that they were figured out the number of total cards that were there. Like, I thought they're like, I was just trying to figure out in my head, like, how did they figure out of all the cards in the entire set, how did they figure out that only these 95 were the ones that went out? Like, that to me is a.
Do you think they knew it before people started figuring it out, and then we're like, hey, if we don't say anything like out of the gate, maybe no one will notice it, which is dumb with social media and breakers. But
or something else that I will get into in a couple minutes here. But let me cut you off right there.
Mm-hmm.
So their solution to this is they're now offering a buyback program, but only for the first of the two cards. So keep that in mind, that if you have one of these, you have to be the first person to get it, to get this money. But they are offering between $3,000, a minimum of $3,000 to a maximum of $75,000, almost $700,000 in total to buy back one of ones. Only one of each of them, though. Let's go with this. I'll cut it off there. I won't get anything else. I mean, this is
biting my tongue since we started talking about this.
A very, very generous offer. Obviously, that's a great way to get some of these off the market. I'll let you go from there, Joe.
When you sent me this, I said I gotta save this for the pod. I'm biting my tongue for like a week to talk about this. I said last week, if Michael Rubin wasn't behind the scenes, kind of, even if it's subtle, kind of trying to play the strings a little bit and get, you know, some of these players associations, some of these contracts or whatever away from Panini to Fanatics, I would be upset with him as a businessman. I'd be like, oh, come on. We put you on this pedestal, and it'd be upsetting to me if you weren't doing this. This brings me back in. This is such great business, and not for the reason that people might think. This is great business, obviously, because they're doing the right thing and it's good PR, and they're, hey, we're buying these things back. This is great. It's also great business because he just put a bounty on all of these cards. People are going to go out and buy the boxes of these cards for this bounty now, especially since they're only going to take the first one. It's like, okay, imagine having
let me interrupt here, because one of my talking points for after this was that there are some people out there saying that maybe this was done intentionally as a marketing ploy, because they just created a lot of value for people to chase. So you're bringing it up now, you know, let's wrap that into this whole discussion about how much they're paying. And, you know, obviously, I feel like, Joe, you're kind of in the camp of that might be true.
I didn't know that was a thing. And now I'm like,
yeah. I was going to say, are you implying that they did this on purpose, Joe?
No, actually, I was not at all implying, but now I'm like, I think he is even a better businessman if that's the case. I am like bowing to the throne that is Michael Rubin if they did this intentionally. It does. Remember, we were talking about the Magic the Gathering, Lord of the Rings thing, and the bounty for the 101, and how expensive boxes were, and people just, you know, beating up their grandmother to get a box of this stuff. And, you know, I said, hey, just wait. Oh, by the way, there are people that definitely would beat up their grandmother for cards. They're crazy people out there.
You're probably right.
I said, just wait if you actually want this product, because the prices will come down once the card has been pulled. There are 95 cards that need to be pulled for the prices to come down on this product. And you know for a fact that people are going to be chasing those extra 101s. And to be the first to get one, which means they have to buy the product quicker. It's just, I pour one out. I mean, genius. I hate it. Genius. All right.
Wow.
I'm done. EP, you go.
Go ahead, EP.
I never wear the tinfoil hat. That's not my game. But, you know, as soon as I heard that they knew the number, that the number was 95, which seems like a measured number to me, and that now that, and all of a sudden, within days, they came out with a statement saying, well, we have a range of like this, all these numbers for all these cards. It definitely feels like something that may have been done on purpose, possibly. Maybe, possibly.
That he's like, it's a hack guy, but this is two like conspiracies in a row. I forget what the previous one was, but he also jumped in.
Yeah, but normally I don't like it. I like to think that they're not doing this kind of thing, but like it feels there are a lot of different markers here that say that possibly maybe this is something that they thought about doing, and then just by doing it before they even put the amount of money in there, like it generated buzz, like having the multiple one-of-ones generates buzz, and then all of a sudden that just shoots through the roof with the bounties, that, as Mike called it. I mean, they're buybacks, but they're bounties, like you said. Like they probably saw what some of these card sellers were doing and said, hey, we could do that ourselves. We can sell our own product ourselves.
True, yeah.
EP, I have a question for you as
yes.
the true baseball collector here.
Mm-hmm. And
who holds these SuperFractors up as sacrosanct, right? Is that the phrase?
Yeah.
does this offend you that they would play around with like the biggest card historically in a baseball product, that they're doing it and they're making it kind of like not like it's not as special now because they're kind of playing around with it to be a marketing ploy? Does that piss you off as a baseball collector?
I am so torn by this because I do hate it. I like SuperFractor for me was this thing that like I was like you said, sank or sack. Like this is the true 101. This is like you can't mess with this 101. There's some other 101s in Taos products, but the SuperFractor is the 101. But now it's the 1 of 2, but it's still able to 101. But also I like the fact that there are more 101s available. So that increases the value if you're worried about that kind of thing. But isn't like one of them signed and one of them not signed in a lot of cases?
No, none of them. These are all unsigned. Yeah,
all unsigned. Okay.
As far as they know, there are no duplicate autographed ones. Only the regular SuperFractor.
Okay. All right. So I mean, like, so I mean, yeah, sure, but I mean, it depends. Like, I'm really torn. I do still hold the 101 SuperFractor as the 1 of 1. Even though now that there are several 1 of 1s of some of them, I still look at it that way. But I'm torn.
Mike, are they destroying them when they when they buy them back, or are they? Did they say what they're doing with them? They have not
said what they're going to do with them. No.
Oh, they'll be in a future product.
They'll be in a chase.
They very well could be. Yeah. Well, you know, I want to point something out here too, that a lot of people gave Topps grief for creating the -1 out of 0 frozen fractor, right? In effect, these are now minus. If you pull the SuperFractor that you can send back to them, you pulled the -1 because that one is going to disappear and it's going to make there only be one left, right? So they're brilliant.
That's why I drink from this cup. People think we're the Three Stooges from stuff like this.
They brought that to people's attention in an earlier product, planted the seed, and now you're seeing that seed grow into a giant oak. Okay, that might be a little ridiculous, but okay.
A little.
What I'm going to say here is I think that they're actually just making lemonade out of lemons. I don't think they did this on purpose. So they had absolutely horrible quality control. You need to do better. You can't have 95 duplicate 1 of 1s going out in your product. And while I applaud the buyback to try to get these off of the market, don't let this like cloud the original problem, your quality control. Joe, you talk about this all the time. How can it be so awful if you're a gigantic multi-billion-dollar company
$30
going
billion
around
company
just eating up planets and worlds everywhere? Put a little bit of money into your QC. They're like PSA. PSA hires all these graders and can grade millions of cards a month, but they can't hire anybody to do the talking to the people on the telephone and help out with the issues. They're doing the same thing. We're going to make all this money off it, but at the end of the day, we're not putting money in. We're putting money into the manufacturer to make more, but we're not keeping a better eye on what those manufacturers are making. Like, there's no way in hell that somebody shouldn't go, oh, wait, there's a duplicate sheet of these. That one shouldn't be put into the packs. Or go partway into it, go, oh, shit. You know what? I think these got put in there. We need to stop and figure this out. No, they're like, oh, well, we'll figure it out later. And they came
hope
out,
no one catches it. And hope no one catches it.
Well, I mean, if you have 95, you're going to know that somebody's going to catch it. So they may have known this was happening before it was released. They may have put their buyback program into place to announce for when it became an issue. But I don't think they had it all planned from the beginning. I think they screwed up royally. And this is a great way to throw money at an issue to make people forget about it, but you're not fixing the issue. Like you said, Joe, take some of that money and put it toward the actual problem of having terrible quality control. You can't, like, you are going to own the entire hobby. I've been hopeful, but it's the same old shit that every company that's ever had a license has always done. They take advantage of the hobby, they make as much money as they can off it, but at the end of the day, they're like, they'll forget about the problem. We'll move on, and sadly, they're right. That's what we do as collectors. Right. We forget about. Don't let the huge amounts of money that they're going to buy this back for make you forget that they effed up royally in making one of their premier products, the SuperFractor. You're going to print 95 duplicates. You need to do better. You just need to do better. And it's not just about throwing money at this situation.
I 2 points really quick. One, it's kind of hilarious that we've talked so often about how smart they were about buying the printing. If this was Panini that did this, we would be losing our minds, rightfully. But we could look back and say, well, doesn't Fanatics own the printers? Maybe there was something going on there. You own the printers, like. You ultimately, you have this product from soup to nuts. You have it from its inception all the way till when it goes out in the distribution. So, like, there's no one else to blame but yourself. You did this. You're the problem. The other point is you've got these $700,000 worth of bounties, right? How many people in the hobby, if you went up to them and said, instead of that $700,000 bounty, how about they put $700,000 towards hiring quality control people? It all sounds great until someone goes, well, what if I pull one of those 101s and I can get the
nobody's
money?
Gonna say,
like,
nobody's going to say,
no one.
Yeah.
Would you rather make the hobby better or get your possible money for your bounty? Everyone's going to pick that one. And that's what's so frustrating. It's like I hate Walmart. Well, okay, are you going to boycott Walmart? No, I'm going to go to Walmart because it's cheaper prices. Like, come on. Like, if you really want things to change, you have to be kind of part of it a little bit. And I'm not saying Topps is going out and doing a poll and giving anyone the choice, but for me personally, I'd rather them take that $700,000 and fix the actual problem. This is just a symptom of the problem. That's not the actual problem. The actual problem is they have no quality control.
Spend $1.4 million and, like, fix both.
Well, I mean,
or that, but that's not going to happen. So we have to live with what we have.
I mean, that's what I was going to say. They have 30 billion. Is that what you said, Joe? $30 billion is what they have. Like they can afford to both take care of the collectors and fix this problem. Like they have the means, they have the power to do it. So we'll just go ahead and do it. Also, I wanted to ask Mike.
Checked, billionaires and billionaire companies generally just like the money. So right. I don't know if anyone's got that, but they care more about the money than anything.
In theory, they could do both. Why not just do both? Mike,
in theory.
What shirt are you wearing? The top shirt today?
Wow! He's out. He must be out.
Hey, if I'm ranting on them, I must be mad about it. They're paying all this ridiculous money to buy it back, but it's creating a brand new other set of issues. There was an eBay seller that sold a Rainer Arias 1/1 SuperFractor on eBay for $2,000. When the buyback amounts came out, he was listed for $25,000, and the seller ended up getting the card intercepted by USPS before it was delivered and taken back. So we have a seller who sold a card for $2,000. The buyback program came out and he was like, oh crap, I need to get that card back because I'm not letting it go for $2,000. It's worth $25,000, and had the postal service intercept it before delivery and send it back.
Yeah, I saw the intercepted thing. I didn't realize it was connected to this. I just saw the line from the, I mean, would you guys do anything different if you had the ability to stop it?
I didn't think you could stop it. Is it possible to stop it?
Yeah,
apparently it is.
Yeah. Well, and maybe if he sent it registered or something, maybe it was the service that he used.
The question is, like, who owns the card at that point, though? The person paid for the card.
Yes,
the person paid for the shipping. it's his card.
Yeah.
Like you as the seller need to make sure that it's delivered. But I feel like once it is paid and shipped, that's not your card to intercept anymore.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Like it almost
100%.
seems illegal. Like
Yes.
you took that guy's card, like you stole it. Like I don't know. It like I get the same old question of when does it become your card? Is it your card when it's delivered, or is it your card when you pay for it? So
When you pay for it, that's, I mean, that is, in my opinion, that's how it works, right? That's how transactions work.
especially if it's sent, you know.
Yeah, it feels like a gross, like another gross side of the hobby, right? Like another one of those gross things that this hobby does to people, you know.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, and I'm not going to side with the seller here at all, but I am going to say Topps created that problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm
created that
saying.
problem.
Yeah.
So
like, should they have offered this for both of them? Maybe take them all off the market? I don't know. Like,
right.
I feel like, you know, doing the buyback and only offering it for the first one is going to create a lot of turmoil in the hobby. Like, and you kind of have to know that, right? Like, if you're going to say, okay, we're going to give $25,000 for this card, but only for the first person. Imagine if you're the second person. You're pissed at Topps for doing that. Like, oh yeah, great, you'll do it for one when you created this whole mess, but because I pulled mine a day later, it's not worth anything. Like, I feel like the end result of this is going to be awful for the hobby.
Or as the seller of this card, you've got to think to yourself, I'm so used to card companies just not doing anything. Why would I hold this card thinking that maybe they're going to come out with this buyback program? I'll take the 3,000, which is probably way less than it would have gone for had this not been a controversy in the first place, had there not been a second one floating around out there somewhere, right? So he got the shaft on the sale of the card because he probably would have sold it for a lot more if it was a true one-of-one SuperFractor, right? Like, so like, I'm not, he shouldn't have done what
but
he
I
did,
don't think,
but that's Fanatics' fault.
That's before people knew how many there were, so it probably did sell for what it would normally sell for.
Then why is the buyback 25,000 on that? That's random.
Imagine if you're this seller and you get it back and somebody's already turned in the one for 25,000.
That's
now,
what I was
your
going to
card's
say.
worth like $1,000, right? Like, there's
like,
you could have made 3,000, but now your card's $1,000.
If there's karma in the card world, somebody else will pull the other one and get that in before this guy has.
There's not. There's not.
There isn't. No, this hobby rewards the worst people in it at times. Well, you know. One SuperFractor that didn't have a duplicate was the Babe Ruth. And, you know, I don't know if you guys know, but Fanatics was having a big Bowman Chrome break. They were paying like an extra $15,000 to anybody who pulled the Babe Ruth SuperFractor if it came out. Everybody was expecting that card was going to be pulled because we know how things work in the hobby. Well, guess what? It was pulled this weekend. But not in that break. Okay. It was pulled by Bulldog Sports Cards, I guess a YouTube channel with less than 1,000 subscribers.
Awesome.
The actual video had less than 1,000 views. So it was like, first of all, Bulldog, come on. It's got to be good. I like it. Yeah, less than 1,000 subs, just like us. I like them. I like these people. I've never seen them before in my life. But yes, one for the little guys. The little guy actually pulled the big card. Are we happy?
Shocking.
I'm happy. I'm happy. Yeah, definitely. I'm very happy. Like, the thing is, we've the three of us have always said that, like, backyard breaks, they're like ridiculous volume of that they're opening all these really big breakers.
Well, you've said that more than Joe and I.
Right. Because again, I don't wear the tin
Joe and I
hat.
just like to wear the tinfoil.
You don't wear the tin hat until you wear the tin hat.
Yeah,
then I'm all in, baby. Then I'm all in, baby. Yeah, it's like, and so it's cool to see somebody. I mean, guessing they probably have only break one case like this. Bulldog Sports, maybe they only broke a box. Like, I'm not sure, but like, it is very cool to see something like that happen. And then also like the Lord of the Rings. The one that came out of Lord of the Rings, that, you know, just some random person buying some packs or whatever at the shop, like that's the kind of stuff. Those are the stories that I want to see and hear, and that's awesome. I love it.
I mean, I'm less surprised about the Magic thing, and I don't know anything about that company and whether or not, but I do know about Fanatics, and I am shocked that this was not pulled during their big break. We were texting about this beforehand, and I said, God, I hope it does not happen, but it probably will. And you said, Mike, but think about the content. Very true. I mean, it would be fun content.
I'm not going to lie. I wanted it to happen.
Yeah, I mean, because we're just so used to it at this point. Like, I'm
Yeah.
surprised they didn't somehow resurrect Babe Ruth to open up packs of cards himself and pull his own SuperFractor. Would anyone have been shocked, like a hologram version of Babe Ruth out there opening up packs? And
Or how great would it have been if they would have had two of them and they would have also pulled one? Like two of them would have been pulled. Same
That would have been perfect.
That would have been.
Who gets
so...
the buyback?
Or they.
Who gets the
what
bounty?
if they pulled two of them out of the same case?
Oh my God.
That would have been even better, you know, because
Yeah.
I did see early on somebody had like a case that had like all these numbered, like, I don't know if they're golds or whatever, numbered Babe Ruth out of the same case. So if it would have had two that would have been fantastic.
Fantastic.
We could have done like a week's worth of videos just.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, you know, we have talked about how crappy Topps is for the whole.
No, you have to
podcast.
say, don't just say Topps.
Fanatics.
That's it. There you
Fanatics.
go. There you go, buddy.
You know, last week though, we talked a little bit about the WWE suing, trying to get a temporary restraining order against Panini, cutting them off. Well, give you some updates, not only for that, but also for the NFL Players Association. Monday, it was ruled that the temporary restraining order was denied, so Panini will be allowed to continue making WWE wrestling cards until that case gets adjudicated. Also, in a surprising move, Friday, you know, I saw Dave & Adam's Card World. They have a podcast on, and their hosts of the podcast were like adamant that they had hobby sources indicated to them that there was going to be a ruling come down. It's not a TRO because it's an arbitration, but it's like the arbitration equivalent to it. I'm not sure, an emergency order or something like that is called. But they were adamant that their sources, their trusted hobby sources, said that the NFLPA was going to come out victorious in that. Well, it turns out it was the absolute opposite of that. Panini also, you know, that was also declined for the NFLPA. So Panini can also continue to make NFL football cards until that case is resolved. Obviously, their sources were like Fanatics people, right? Right.
Oh no! I mean, the you're bearing the lead. The takeaway here is don't believe anything you hear on the internet.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
I
Even if it's
mean,
from us.
Right.
Don't
They know just as much as we do, just spitballing out here.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever their sources were,
Especially
right,
with an
Mike,
arbitration hearing, like all
Right.
that stuff has been closed. There's been very little about it. But I mean, the takeaway from all this is Panini will at least get to continue making WWE product and NFL Players Association's product until the cases are resolved. And I'm not terribly surprised. Like, I feel like, especially the WWE case, like their main complaint goes back to something that was from June of 2022. So in order to get the TRO, it had to be like an immediate issue, and they waited a long time. So it's not surprising. I still think WWE has a strong case if it's actually what they're talking about with the trading card games, because they never made a trading card game. But yeah, this is good news for collectors, actually, because we're going to have product to buy while all this stuff is sorted out. So at the end of the day, even though, you know, I don't know how successful Panini will be in the end of this, or if they'll even get to the end of it, there's still going to be product out there for people to buy.
Like you said, Mike, that was going to be my takeaway. Was this is whether you like Panini or not having wrestling cards for however long it would have taken Fanatics to put a wrestling set together, not having football cards, legitimate pro football cards by the time it took Topps and Fanatics to put a football set together. We were really worried that for the next year, those two properties wouldn't have had cards, and that would have really, really sucked for the collectors. So this is definitely a win for the collectors, regardless if you like Panini products or not. You'll at least get something, which is nice. The thing I'm curious about, and Paul Esco actually, just as an aside, Paul Esco made a point about TROs. They're for extraordinary situations. This is not, neither of these are extraordinary situations. So that's probably why that those TROs were pushed back on. The question I have for you, Mike, as a wrestling collector, is Vince McMahon is still, and the WWE is very much still, they push down their wrestlers pretty hard. Do you think that autographs are going to find their way into products, or is Vince going to shut that whole thing down and say, no, you're not signing for Panini. You're going to wait until this is resolved and Fanatics gets the license to sign anything again? Or do you think they just have stickers lying around and you're just not going to get the big stars who are normally like the Triple H's who don't sign and they're normally a redemption situation?
I don't think it'll impact it any more than it would have if none of this happened. Like Vince actually, he doesn't have the power now in TKO that he had before. So really a different day for them. But yeah, I think the issue with the redemptions for wrestling is I don't think Panini makes the effort to get them. Like it's very clear the way they come out, because anybody who is not like a routine talent or somebody who might be out injured, they're the ones that are redemptions. Like they're obviously going to like an event at a certain point in time and getting as many as they can, but it feels like that's the only effort they're making. Like I feel like they're not going to, the premium live events every month, which they could easily do. They could send a representative there, get people who haven't signed to sign things for them. They're just getting them to sign as much as they can in one chunk, whatever event, probably WrestleMania would be my guess. And then like waiting till the next big event. So I really don't think Panini is trying that hard to get the ones. They're obviously not sending them to them like they.
I was just going to ask that. They usually do that with football, don't they? And baseball, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Absolutely. And we'll talk about that shortly. But yeah, I don't think it's going to make any difference. I think anybody who would have signed will still sign. Anybody who isn't getting them to sign won't sign. It's still, I would not feel comfortable having redemptions from football.
Put it on eBay right away, out of the gate. If you get,
I just don't know. Like, again, I've talked about this. How long does Panini draw this out? Like there's an end of the road. Do you risk losing the lawsuit and spending the tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars you're going to spend on it? I don't know.
There's zero incentive. There's zero incentive for Panini to fulfill redemptions. So why not just put them in the product if they
don't want to fill them anyway?
Right.
Again, said it a million times. They're trying to get sue in court. So they don't have to.
Yeah. Just to go back to the original point that we're talking about here. Like this is when I rewatched our show. The one thing I never got to was just reiterating that this is going to kill collectors. Like collectors can't get the product. And now Joe, you put it out there great. Like I can't really say much more about it, but that was the thing that I wanted to say. The last one I didn't say it, and that the silver lining here is that we're going to have these products available. People that want the products are going to be able to have them available to them.
This ruling, by the way, if I'm Panini, this ruling just open up the door again to sell your licenses to Fanatics. You just got a golden ticket to say, hey, you're not taking them right away now. Now's the time to get out. Like if you are smart, the writing is on the wall. You're going to lose most of this IP anyway. Sell it now. Get to the table with Fanatics and try and make some sort of deal. You won, and you should. We're not super surprised, but it's kind of shocking. Like you won this. Use it. Use it to your advantage.
It adds value to your company winning these TROs. Like you don't know what the end result's going to be. Like Dustin had a video about this, and we love Dustin, Sports Card Dad, on this channel, but I completely disagree with him. He was like, why would they sell now? Like even if they didn't out of spite, it's like the reason they would sell is because there's an end of the road. Like their company, the value of the company when they lose the license, regardless of any of the litigation, like drops substantially. Like
every year.
Yeah.
Every year it's dropping.
We're going to have less revenue made every year when the contract is getting older and older. There's an end of the road where that company's value goes from here to automatically down here. That's why you sell. Like, I don't understand his logic in this, because everything points to me that now more than ever would be the time where now they have some leverage back. They didn't lose the ability to print cards. They know Fanatics wants it. Fanatics will pay money. Like, somewhere in between here, before you risk losing the litigation, you strike a deal. Like, I would be surprised if it doesn't happen.
Absolutely.
I feel like somebody at Panini has a spreadsheet, and that just figures out the exact moment where they're going to start losing money. What point do they start losing money? And that's that they're going to sell. Like, I feel like they have to. Like, there's way too much money in that business, and they've got all these legal stuff going on and everything like that. Like, they have to be able to. Somebody has to know like what the number is, whether they actually are able to sell then or whatever, or maybe it's better to sell now than to wait till then. Because I'm guessing Fanatics probably also has like a rough idea where that line is too, right?
I guess at the end of the day too, it really depends on how Panini feels about the antitrust lawsuit, because that is literally the only thing that could continue for that company to continue to have value. If they, I don't think it's going to happen personally, but if they think there's some kind of chance that a judge will rule that, yep, everything you're saying is true, and we're not going to let them have the license, I feel like that's like a long shot. Like, I don't know. I feel you take the value while you can. It's like you have your parlay going and you have all the parts of it, but the last one you can cash in here or lose everything. Cash in.
I will say that's why I don't actually think the 101 thing was planned, because this would be a bad time to do multiple 101s of one of your most valued cards and say it was a planned screw up, unless you're coming out and saying it was planned and this was a fun thing that we were doing. If this was not planned and it was a screw up, or it was planned and it made it look like a screw up, that's not great for your antitrust thing. You can't say Panini's really, really bad, look how bad they are, and then do a colossal F up like this. I'm just, it would be bad timing. So EP, I'm going to take that tinfoil cap back off of you and say, I don't think it's a good time to play around with the 101s of one of your biggest products, one of your biggest cards.
Well, I'm going to use that opportunity to transition into my next topic
setting
here.
You up to setting it over like volleyball teammate here.
This week, it was found out that a maintenance worker at an apartment complex where a lot of younger baseball players live found, apparently there was like a jam in the garbage chute. And I guess he cleared it out, and he found a bunch of unsigned Jackson Merrill 2023 Immaculate cards and Panini sticker sheets that were sent to him to sign, including a bunch of one-of-ones with extras for damages. So don't think that they, like, I think this is confirmation that they will print more than one-of-one. I counted up, like, there was also a sheet there showing all the individual cards he had to sign, and there were 289 cards, like, all shoved in this box. Like I said, the sticker sheets and extra for damages. It was from 2023 Immaculate, which I guess was probably one of the products that they had to cancel when they lost NBA, the Major League Baseball Players Association. I guess, I'm not sure. But yeah, interesting. I don't even know where you want to go with this. You want to talk about the sticker sheets randomly out there just being thrown away that people could use if they got their hands on them to forge. The extra for damages, like the cards are clearly having more than one printed and they're signing more in case there is a damage. Just the fact that you trust somebody to sign all this stuff. Yeah, they have to sign an affidavit and it says that you have to sign them. But like at the end of the day, we know they're never going to litigate. They're not litigating against people for not signing. They're not going to litigate against them for not having, like, not signing them themselves. Like, clearly they've never done that. Right. So like, Where pick a spot to start, Joe. Go ahead.
There's so much here. First off, so this was at the players.
The player apparently had them, and they didn't need to sign them because I guess they didn't release the product, so he just took everything and threw it down the garbage chute.
That'd be great. Yeah. So for me, it's like I've been saying for a long time, it is so ridiculous. We're past COVID, guys. Like, you can send people out to get things signed. You can have people go to team facilities, go during spring training, go during training camps in the NFL. You know, there are opportunities for you to have someone physically there to sign products. And if you don't need those products anymore because something was canceled, then you destroy them. You don't want a Fleer-esque fire sale.
Have them send them back.
Right. Like, right. If you're going to do it this way, which again, past COVID, we should be able to send people out to these stadiums and these training camps and things, but make them mail them back. Like, if you buy something from a company and it comes in destroyed, they want you to mail it back. Like, just as a consumer, they don't want to, they're not taking your word for it that you're going to do the right thing. You know, like, actually make them mail them back, pay for the shipping. I really don't know what the problem is. And for him as the player, it kind of shows you how little certain players probably take our hobby. Like, if he's willing to just say, screw it and throw them in the trash instead of saying, what should I actually do with these that would make sense?
Maybe
it kind of shows you some. Maybe Panini said to throw them in the trash.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
I mean, it's not either one of those things.
I wouldn't put anything on the player on that.
I would. A lot of players don't take this as seriously as they should.
Oh, I agree, but I don't know that this situation is necessarily showing that. But yeah, I mean, the sticker sheets, like, if this product was canceled, I can only assume that everybody that was in it probably got the sticker sheets too. So there could be a ton of those floating around for people to fake autographs on.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to say. Like, the wider ramifications here of, like, this person found one player's cards and autograph sheets.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if you think about Panini products and Immaculate is like, isn't it like heavily autograph based? Like, there are tons and tons of autographs in that product. And to think that, you know, that whole list of all these different cards that this kid had, I mean, again, I call him a kid, like, and the bottom line is, like, they probably did this for all of these 19 to 20-year-old kids who, like, are putting all this responsibility on these players who, you know, that's probably a lot of them are you know, from like Central America. Like, a lot of them are like not even, you know, like, they're just like overwhelmed probably with all this stuff, and probably there's probably a lot of these cards and sheets in the trash all over the country.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, like, it's wild to think about with the possible bad ramifications of having these sticker sheets out there that people could do what they want with them.
Be thankful that the maintenance person there, like, didn't just go, oh, I can take these and sell them to somebody.
Right.
Yeah, like,
right.
Maybe he did. I don't know.
I mean, that's how it found its way to social media. He sold them to someone, and they're like, look what I got.
Well, you know, there's part one of Panini being awful, just like Fanatics. Part two, Panini 2023 WWE Elite. That is the next product to be released. Didn't know if it was going to happen or not, but now it will. But unfortunately, at least two of the one-of-one autographs out of that product have shown up on eBay unsigned. The Alba Fire and the Xavier Woods have been listed a couple times on eBay, and I think eBay keeps canceling the listings on it. But these cards were obviously made to be signed to put in the product, or at least be a redemption. Two of them, one-of-ones out there, at least two of them, with no autographs on them that were backdoored somehow.
Mm-hmm. I mean, again, it reminds me of the Fleer thing where you look up PMGs that are unnumbered. You know, they were backdoored out of it. Mm-hmm. And we talked about this with the I don't think the connection was ever made, but the party house that Fanatics did with the players where cards were going out the back door. This seems like just every card company. It's just, okay, just no alarms on those back doors. Cards just keep flying out of them. Doesn't matter who it is, what company it is.
You wonder too.
Also just happen just constantly.
You wonder with, like, like the WWE saying, okay, you have to stop. Was there somebody at Panini that was responsible for these? Or like, oh, these are worthless now. Here, you want them? Like,
Yeah.
was there a
And
reaction?
them out to a bunch of employees,
Yeah,
right?
of somebody who was working there that thought, oh, we can't put these out now before they knew the legal stuff. Like, that is the fear of this stuff, the back door. Like you said, Fleer, when they went out of business, they had a ton of stuff.
It was a free for all, man.
Yeah, and like it really hurts the value of that stuff long term. And I know people don't want to hear that they're one of one that they paid hundreds of dollars or thousands for might not be worth, but you don't know. You don't know what they have sitting in an office or a warehouse somewhere, and you don't know if they go out of business what they're going to do with it. And that's a company going to lose the license. Like, I don't know. I don't know if these were thrown out by somebody who jumped the gun because they thought they weren't going to be able to use them or what, but like having cards that are one of ones for a product that wasn't even released yet show up unsigned on eBay is awful.
And let's put it one step forward real quick. Imagine if those one-on-ones were players or athletes or whatever who you could then send them to get signed, right? Like you go to a signing show, wrestlers are going to sign whatever you put in front of them if you pay them, right? So imagine if it's a one-on-one, you actually got it signed. At that point, how do you prove it's not a legitimate card in the set? Like there's a lot of ramifications beyond, and that leads to the goes back to the baseball player throwing those cards away. You got to do something better with if you're not going to make the product or whatever, they need to be destroyed. You need verification of it and just go from there.
In theory, these cards are like probably backup cards, right? You would think that the actual one that's signed is probably in the product, like in the actual product. You would
but
hope,
we don't know. Yeah.
We don't 100% sure. I think this goes back to again, and like it goes back to two things. One, employees at these places, make sure you're taking care of your employees, make sure they're not doing so that they don't have to do this kind of stuff. And second, our hobby, like none of the stuff, like icky people doing icky things, and like taking a card like that and selling it. I mean, I wouldn't do it. I'd feel gross doing like selling that, like especially like if it's given to you as a gift, like as as part of your company or whatever. Like I wouldn't. Like my first thought would be, how much can I get this? How much can I get for this? I should put it on eBay right now and sell it. Like that would be my first thought. So that's again the two things that are not great in the hobby, it seems, right now.
And it makes you wonder too, like how many might have been just Alba Fire and Xavier Woods. Like what about the Roman Reigns? It makes you wonder.
There could be 9 to 5 of them out there.
Yeah, are these cards even going to be available in the product? Those obviously aren't. Were they backups, or were they the ones they were really supposed to
Does
sign?
Heyman have an auto in this product?
I don't know yet. I really hope
oh my god. Yeah,
I mean, just again, like now you're releasing a product and like people don't know. And you again, just like Topps never does. Panini won't say, oh yeah, these were blah 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 this, but we do have in the they won't let you know. Like they kind of did with Score Football not having autographs in it, but they conveniently made sure in none of their marketing did they really say they didn't have the top quarterbacks' autographs in their product. Like so much of this is so gross from so many people on so many sides. Like it just drives me crazy, but like we have to talk about it because it's here, and it never ever changes. Never changes.
Well,
they're going to be redemptions in that product, right? They're going to be the redemption cards in that product.
Absolutely, yeah. No, you'll never get them.
Like, two things real quick. One, if you're tired of all the sadness in the hobby that we seem to talk about on Mondays, make sure to check out our show on Fridays where we give you 3 cards that you can add to your personal collection from a much better time in the hobby where things weren't as ridiculous as they are now. And my second point is, I don't know if you're going to move to this overarching topic or not, Mike, but is the hobby doomed? Is kind of how you kind of laid this out for us. Is that on your sheet? I don't want to put the cart before the horse.
Right. Talk about it. Go ahead.
Well, you mentioned to us that the overarching theme of this week's pod was, is the hobby doomed because of all this stuff going on with Fanatics and all this stuff going on with Panini. To that end, that's why the Fanatic stuff scares me and worries me even more. Like the Panini stuff, sure it sucks and sure it shouldn't be like this. It's going to be over soon. right? Everyone calm down. We've got a couple of years yet before Panini loses everything. Fanatics screwing up like this is
Not
the
good.
scarier part for me, because they're the hobby now.
We're locked
You
in.
have to just,
Yeah.
we are locked in for 20 years. There are no 5-year incremental deals. You are locked in for 20 years of Fanatics for all the major sports, sans hockey, right? And at what point are they going to start buying other IP? Like I mentioned last week, we are locked in. So when Fanatics screws up, that does make me nervous about the hobby going forward a little bit. With Panini, it's just, sad to say, par for the course, but also they're going to be off the course here in a couple of years. We're not going to have to be concerned about their screw ups as much.
Yeah. As far as like the hobby being in trouble, I don't think the hobby's in trouble necessarily. I think the hobby's going to be strong, but for the people who are actually paying, I don't think there's a lot of people paying attention to this kind of stuff. I think generally speaking, most of the people in the hobby have no idea about the one-on-one situation. They have no idea. I mean, if they pull one and they start Googling it, then they might figure it out. But I think a lot of people are, because they don't watch us. They should just watch our videos. Come on,
watch us. Subscribe.
Yeah. Subscribe, like, follow, comment below.
Yeah.
But smash that like.
Yeah, but no, like, I don't think a lot of people really pay attention, which is also an awful thing, because then, like, once the companies realize that, they can keep doing it and it doesn't matter. They can keep
what percentage of people are actually talking about this stuff?
Not much.
It's probably like 1%, 2%, probably.
Right.
Like, it's not even 10%.
That's why they know they can get away with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the redemptions in the product and not
that's a great point, though, too. Like, the people that are watching our videos and the people that are even on social media, it's a small fraction of the overall number of people that collect. Like, I'm at the local card shop all the time digging through boxes and stuff. And like, I hear people, people come in and bring up some little tidbits, but they don't know all about it. Like, it's a weird juxtaposition for me doing this. And like, we're always trying to figure out what's going on because we're going to be talking about it. But the average collector, they might know a little bit about it, but they don't know much. And I hear that while I'm just flipping through cards and hear the guy behind the counter talking to another guy about it. And, it is a different world. And we know that social media, it makes the people on social media think everybody knows, but they don't. Like, not everybody's on card Twitter. Not everybody's on Instagram, Facebook. Like, they're not paying attention to this stuff. And you're right, Joe. That's why it probably won't change. I wanted it to change, but I don't think it's going to change.
The closest comparison I could think of when we were talking about this, was like voters in primaries versus voters in general elections. Like, primary voters know every issue about their candidate, every issue about every candidate, everywhere, every time.
Because there are 12 of them.
There are 12. You're right. And then when you go and vote in November, you probably just pull the lever for whatever party you're in, or, I know that guy's name. You really don't know the issues. And that's kind of how I feel. We're like in that primary bubble. Like, people like us, people who watch content like this, we're in this primary bubble. But for the most part, most people just don't care or don't know, or they just are happy. And I kind of envy them. They're blissfully ignorant. And I kind of envy that sometimes. It takes you back to the It takes you back to the 90s, a simpler time. You don't have to worry about lawsuits and TROs and 6 101s coming out, 95 different cards. It's just, you can just sit back and relax and actually enjoy the hobby for what it is, or what it's supposed to be.
And I may have put "Is the hobby doomed" in the title of this podcast, but no, it's not. Like, again, people that will complain. People like us will talk about it, but the hobby will always be here in some shape or form. It's not going to be the end. Things might not be perfect. They're not going to be perfect, sadly, but it's not doomed. The cards aren't going anywhere. People are always going to be interested. So it's not doomed. I may have thrown it in the title. It's not up there, but I'm acting like it is. But we've talked about nothing but negatives this week. So I do want to throw this out there because I saw this and I think it looks really cool. Apparently on October 5th on Topps.com, they're going to have Topps The Joy of Baseball set with Bob Ross. I think it's Bob Ross artwork in the back with like players superimposed over it. It looks fantastic. I don't know if they're going to be like individual cards, like a Topps Now thing, but like I've seen the advertisement for it and I'm like, oh, that looks really cool. So what do you think, EP? That sounds like it's right up your alley.
Oh man, I'm a little torn actually. I like it.
Whoa,
It
wow.
looks pretty cool,
Okay.
but I'm not 100% sold because this feels like they got rid of my archives and my Gypsy Queen for this, and I don't think
This
it's
is
better
better.
than either of those things.
It is.
It's not better than
It's
archives,
much
in my
better.
opinion.
It's definitely better. Archives, they're just doing the same sets they did before. Who cares?
How
How many times can you do an archives? Like back in the 90s,
Well,
they only did it once. Now
yeah,
they're
but
doing it every year.
But some of us missed a bunch of years, so we haven't experienced all the different years.
I thought you'd be more upset
stuff,
with them getting rid of Gypsy Queen over.
You know, they
Archives, to be
actually
honest.
have cards from those years. They aren't making more cards up, right? You could go back and collect those.
Yeah, but that's. I mean, I want the new stuff. I like the new stuff.
Why?
Like,
They've already
I don't know.
done it. Just rehashing the same thing over and over again.
I'm
Where's
gonna
the
tell you.
innovation?
Well,
I
anyhow,
was-
they do look cool, and
Look
I will
fantastic.
probably get some. But yeah, I'm a little upset that the archives and Gypsy Queen are gone because of this product.
I was going to make the comment that we talk that card companies don't innovate. This is it. This is different. You know, it's actually nice that there's something out there different. I kind of wish Topps already had the football license because I think this would be a fun football product too. I'd buy some of it. I don't like baseball. I don't collect baseball. But EP, if you don't buy a box, a case, and open it for the channel, I will be very, very disappointed. It sounds like
If
a
they're
fun
released
product.
that way, I don't know if they're
Yeah.
boxes or not.
Yeah, if it's
feel like it
online,
could
like one
be a
card
It's probably
only.
just
Yeah.
NFTs. It's just NFTs.
But
All right. Well, you know, we talked a little while ago about Brian Gray leaving Leaf, right?
Yeah.
The big scoop on what he's going to do. I'll let you know. I got all the info because guess what? I saw this week that Big Bry, the card guy, which is what he calls his brand now, he was doing his first
Gross.
ever Whatnot stream. What's wrong with Big Bry, the card guy? What, guys? Come on.
EP, give us
this
one.
is
EP,
great.
give us one.
So he had a Whatnot, his first ever Whatnot sale, and guess what? I watched it, and I even made some purchases from Brian Gray.
Wait, you bought stuff off of Whatnot? You're
Yes.
the problem.
Well, I'm not the
You're
problem.
the problem.
This was for content. I needed to figure out what was going on. And he dropped some nuggets there about his future. But yeah, I bought these 2 Panini Prince stickers here. I thought they were really cool. Look at these though. They are in soft sleeve, not in soft sleeves in here. And these were just thrown into a flimsy bubble mailer to send. Do better. Do better. You're a hobby
Bry.
veteran. Come on, Big Bry. I
Big Bry.
expect a little
Not
more
big-
for this. Plus,
big-
on Whatnot, you have to pay shipping like $4 for each item, and then they come together, and it costs like nothing near that. But yeah, I feel like, you know, sending something that flimsy in a bubble mailer could be a little bit of a problem in the future.
Big
Mine
Bry
made
not
it
big on
safe.
shipping.
Yeah, come on, Big Bry, do a little better than that. But yeah, he dropped a couple nuggets that he's going to be starting a website, Big Bry the card guy, and he's going to be selling on Whatnot, and he's also going to be starting a YouTube channel. So we've got some competition now. You know, maybe he'll have us on his show,
Right.
since he wouldn't come
won't
on ours. But
he's afraid. Big
Yeah.
Bry's afraid to come on our.
he
on
is, yes.
ours.
I was watching the Whatnot stream though, and I kept hearing Don West, like he was
Oh, yeah.
trying to sell everything. Like, I'm sorry, dude. You know, yeah, nobody's bidding $5 on your David Robinson hoops rookie because it's really not worth $5. So,
Clear.
yeah, but like he was like he was like almost offended that people weren't bidding like at the starting bidding, like how bad we were. And boy, later on when people get there, you're gonna like regret it. And I'm like, yeah, but you're charging like twice what people would be able to buy it from ComC. Like,
It's like, don't you love going to like a concert and being yelled at by the band about not being loud enough? Like
that's exactly what it was like.
Like, what are you? Come on, Big Bri. Well, I will say, you know, joking aside about this whole thing, it kind of seems like, and we love Sports Card Radio. We love Sports Card Radio. Kind of seems like they were implying he was going to Fanatics. So I don't know if things have changed.
Definitely were implying.
They were hard.
Not kind of. They were definitely implying.
Hard implying. Did something change, or did they get their information wrong, or did Brian, who was never really a huge fan of Sports Card Radio, was just jagging with them a little bit? I don't know.
He was supposed to be going on the show to announce where he was going too.
Right.
He did announce like very early in his Whatnot stream though about the YouTube channel, which, let's be real, that'll be an interesting watch.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like his YouTube channel is like a must follow. You're gonna get like it's the card insider stuff. You're gonna get some. I have a feeling that some unhinged hobby takes. For sure. Yeah, some opinions. Like that's gonna be a wild channel. So I'm definitely that's follow for me for sure.
I'm very upset though. It's probably not gonna be live. Like I need Brian.
You don't think he's gonna go live?
He might. I mean, he was
might
live
go
on
live,
Whatnot.
but I think his show will probably. I say this is what we do for our viewers, so they don't have to watch it. We do like a live stream or like a watch along with Brian Gray. I mean, how much fun would that be? Just have him up on the shared screen, you know, pause it here and there, make some comments, have a little watch along with Brian Gray. I think that would be fun. I'm sorry, Big Bri, the card guy.
Big Bri, the card guy. Yeah, get it right, Joe. He's branding himself. Big Bri, the card guy. Yeah, so, well, at least he got me to buy from Whatnot. So there we go.
He did.
Maybe I'm addicted now. Maybe I'll be buying stuff on Whatnot right and left. I'll be backyard.
If you get into a break
with backyard breaks,
we're done. We're shutting the channel down.
This is for research. I had to do it for research. I feel like I've had comments saying that I seem like the kind of guy that would buy from backyard breaks.
I know that is accurate. Yeah, I see that.
Not sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But maybe they were right. They must have been. Here I am buying from Big Bri, the card guy.
If you want the 1-of-1 Paul Heyman auto, you have to go to Backyard Breaks. I'm guessing that's where they all the 1-of-1s come out.
Unless they're already on eBay unsigned.
Right. Very true.
All right, guys, that was a big episode this week. I think we covered everything we needed to cover. I can't do it anymore. I just got to get out of here. So I will see you next week. Take care, guys.
See ya, boys.
Adios.